Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk. Welcome back, and a replay analysis for Hijorte, who is one of our EU community members. Done a lot of good things over there, helping me get a little bit of recognition in the EU, so I definitely appreciate him. He's in his Su-100M1 semi-note, said he's primarily a light tank player. And this is a Casemate TD that's about as far away from a light tank as you can get, to be quite honest, in the game. And we're on whatever this is called, Siegfried line. He's going to come up here to this initial spot, which is not a bad spot. This tank is interesting, the 100M1. It's a tier 7 Russian Casemate, but it is a fast assault TD, if you can believe it. It's got really good armor, it's got good speed, but it's Casemate, so that's going to limit its capability in some cases. And he pretty immediately gets a shot, and then the M44. Once the M44 proves that he's looking in that spot, there's no reason to stay there anymore. I agree with this. He just gets out of there. The M44 is looking for some tanks there, and that's a pretty standard place for Artie to hit. So he goes somewhere else. I thought this was a dangerous move right here, just based on how many tanks were still in the game, and there could have been somebody on that corner, but we get across. And as a light tank player, he asked for a little bit of advice on what he could have done. He ends up having a good game, and it ends up being a loss. So we're going to take a look at that and see if there's any places we could help out just a little bit. Now, the AT-15A decides to go into town, but we don't decide to back him up, and then we decide to back him up. It's kind of hard. It's a Casemate TD. Taking Casemates into multi-azimuth fights and going around corners are two things that are very difficult for Casemates to do. AT-15A has an advantage because it fires quickly and has quite a large field of regard with its guns, so that helps out with those kind of situations. But getting pinned down in Casemate is a problem. Now let's just take a quick look at what's going on. They've got several guys in this courtyard right here. That's going to be problematic for Hijorte because they can come up on this ramp and shoot down on him. There's a whole stack of guys over here in the northwest part of town, and that means they can come around that corner. So the red team has invested a little bit more heavily into the town. We've got quite a few campers back here chilling out. Not much going on in the village, or out in the field, I mean. So what you need to watch out for in this position right here is people coming around this corner and shooting you. And with a Casemate, that's extremely tricky because it doesn't have a turret to spin around and support in different directions. So I thought you might go around here and come after these guys as the 15A pushes in, but we sort of sit here for a second, think about it, and then we turn around. And unfortunately, once you leave him, he's really overextended, and that's just inviting guys to come around. It's hard to see, but right here and that opening, and of course coming around the corner right here. Now you have an ILS that is kind of keeping them busy. Sorry, an IS is trying to keep them a little bit busy right there. But we really get enamored of what's going on right here in the courtyard. We're kind of checking six. I like that. Good camera work to keep track of what's going on. That's the hallmark of a light tank player, trying to gather as much SA as possible. The 100Y walks into it, takes two in the face, and dies. And now we have two ISs in this corner, and we're going to spend a long time right here, Hijorte, messing around with guys in this kind of difficult place for you to take them on. We do a decent job. We come around, we're looking maybe for a shot on the IS, then we see the 30-45. He's going to back right into your shot. Nice job, we take him out. Okay, fantastic. Team is starting to lose. So let's just take a look at what we've got going on. The AT-15 died because guys came around the corner. See the T-150 and the IS? They came around the corner and took him out. I think maybe if you'd have supported him a little bit more, you might have been able to work on those guys. And him dying, it was a very foolish move on his part. And I'm not saying roll out here and die, but I think if you stayed over here, you might have been able to help him out a little bit. He dies alone, and now we do a pretty good job fighting these guys. But this is where the kind of damage farming and more or less abandoning winning sort of comes into play, because the rest of your tanks, the IS, the Leo, and the KV-2 are over there, and we got a 150 we probably could have repositioned and taken out. Maybe support them against this IS. These guys aren't really doing much of anything. You do have to watch for them coming around. See the zoom out. For them coming around this way and getting behind you as you're shooting that way, but you do have a Tiger 1 behind you right now and a Nashorn. But we're really just going to kind of get very detailed in how we're going to take these guys on. So we can shoot him, that's cool. The other IS is working the other way, he's around the corner. So we're just kind of looking for a shot on this guy. think that dude is not using the large gun. He pokes around and eats one right in the turret. This thing has really good penetration, as I recall. Let's see if we can get it called up here. Yeah, 212 is really nice for standard pen, especially for a tier 7. Dump him. I don't know what the Jackson was thinking. He just tries to go right by. A relatively quick reload on this tank. I mean, it just really can drop the paint if you can get the shots. I don't know what this Achilles was thinking. Bouncing a little bit. We missed one right there. We really have 3 or 4 of them bottled up. This was an opportunity for your team to do something. Tiger's kind of sitting right there. He's trying to shoot into that little spot there. This is pretty typical of people who don't have a good idea of what they're doing. He's staring in here wondering if he's going to get some of your scraps. He's not thinking about what do I need to do as a Tiger based on where all the tanks are. All he had to do was come around. Can you get the zoom out? All he had to do was come around over here and start threatening these guys from another direction. And you guys would have had just a heyday. I mean, the Tiger 1's DPM, just cross here. What else is there? There's really nothing. If you look at what's out there, there's a Hellcat unspotted. He might be up here. But there's quite a bit of cover on buildings and stuff. I mean, really, that Tiger could have been the X factor right here. T-40, there we go. So the light tank is thinking that. He's trying to get around you. Nice job. We take him down. Little auto aim. That is your friend with a Casemate TD in a lot of cases. Poor Achilles. What was he thinking? Just staring right there. Auto aim is your friend in a lot of cases with the Casemate because it allows you to maneuver and just bring your gun online. Bring the hole online with the gun and get the shot off. And Hijorte will use this a couple times. See, the Tiger is just getting absolutely abused over here. And the few tanks we have left are now getting, I don't know if I can get you that shot. The few tanks that are left are now getting swarmed by the 2 ISs and the guys that come around are doing another nice job putting a shot on him. So I think really the bottom line here, there's the old auto aim, just bring the gun line, nicely done. That way you don't have to zoom in and reset, you just auto aim and bring it around. Be careful coming around corners. This is what I was talking about on coming around corners in Casemates. Thank goodness he didn't track you right there. Fire, nice. Alright, what I would have done there is rammed into him because that slows down his ability to get by you. That's a technique with Casemates. When you get close to guys, ideally don't get so close, but you're knife fighting in a city, you kind of had to do it. If you want to slow him down from getting around, try to ram him, and then he's closer and you can spin around and keep him on azimuth. He's trying to get around you. Get a shot, does a nice job. You have a kit, you fix it. I think that's exactly the right answer. He makes a mistake driving up on that. See how it's still auto aimed? He'll bring the gun right on. Ooh. I like that you didn't fire right as you brought it on. You had a good chance of bouncing. You got it squared up and took that guy down. Tiger's dead. You got surrounded. That is an unfortunate miss right there. Really needed that to hit. Take some crit damage. We come in here. Looking for a shot. Only a crit damage. That hurt a little bit. Would have been nice to have got some damage out of that. Just takes a little longer to get rid of this guy, which means you have less time to deal with the next guys coming in on you. Alright, right here, things are not looking good, but I don't think I would go out into the field. You know there's a T-150 and a Super. Those guys are in the field. I would spin and look for the T-150 or the Super Hellcat as opposed to mess around with the Nashorn and the Leo. You know they're behind you. So this is that when you're down to a few tanks, you got to isolate the threat as best you can. Take out guys. Take out the guys that are most important. And now you're spotted. You're going kind of out in the open, and you know the dudes are going to come in behind you. So this is just not a great position. So in hindsight, in that case, here comes the 150. Just spin around, go look for the 150. Those two are out of the fight for a few potatoes. They're going to have to come back in on you. You weren't going to be able to save the Nashorn. And anyway, he's the guy camping in the back. It's not like he's a huge asset anyway. You're sort of, I think, looking in the soda straw here. Potential here was to back out and take on the 150, although you were going to get shot by the AMX and the Leo. Another option is just to 90 right and take on this Hellcat, shoot him on the move. Like, break out in a direction. Pick one and go for it. You might not make it, but right now you're just kind of fighting every direction. Really, this is just farming as much damage as we can. That's a bummer. We'll get a crit, no damage on that guy. We'll actually get one more shot in. Nicely done with the auto aim. Down we go, 3,436, 463 with 6 kills, top gun. So that wasn't going to be hard to turn into a win no matter what you did, based on how poorly the rest of your team did. I think supporting the AT might have kept him alive a little longer and locked down that middle. That would have forced their team to do something other than kind of be defensive. Then once they got rid of him, they started whittling down your other players who clearly didn't do very well. And then slowly and inexorably the cage closed in on you there. So I might have spent a little less time trying to mess with guys who were willing to just sit in that little courtyard and maybe try to work on the guys who are actually actively fighting your tanks right there. The other side of that coin is, yes, you were keeping 3 or 4 tanks busy. Maybe they come out and start fighting if you're not locking them down right there. So 2 ways to look at that, to be quite honest. End game wise, I don't know how you come out of that one alive, but maybe just pick one direction or the other. I think the big key on that one would have been to spin and get rid of the T-150. Find him. He's not very fast. He couldn't have got very far in the city. Try to get him down, maybe catch the Super Hellcat, but he actually ends up being out in the field right there. And then go somewhere else, try to find a place to defend and be a little bit sneaky in there and maybe get another couple kills out of it. Who knows? All right, man, I hope that helped. There's no magic bullet on that one. There rarely is. Just little things that you can work on. Nice job with the Casemate. I wanted to show that for everybody as well, just to show how difficult they can be to maneuver. This one happens to be fairly maneuverable and fast with a kind of interesting front armor that's very good. Most of it based on angles. It's not super thick. It's just got a lot of angles. These can be very problematic to take on, especially from the front. But the field of regard is very low, so you can see how much maneuvering he had to do just to get a shot. It's easy to screw that up and miss. All right, man, thanks for sending that in. I appreciate it. For everybody else, thanks for your support of the channel. If you're looking for ways to do so, throw me a subscribe, or you can find other ways down there in the description. That's all I've got. See ya.